Hello, everyone. I'm a little nervous. I have to get my I gotta get it all out. I've filmed YouTube videos before. I have videos on this channel, but they were all vlog styles. I haven't filmed in a couple of months. None of them were like this. First of all, let me say I'm filming with my front camera on my iPhone, so if you see me looking at myself, it's just because I'm a little conceited. Sorry. But because my back camera, I just got the new phone, like the iPhone, whatever. The back camera is so good, and I started recording, and I was like, okay, you guys can see too much. And for just a chit chat video, you guys don't need to see that much of me. I have been wanting to film this video for a really long time, but I get in my head about it. I get in my head. I'm the type of person where I want to wait for things to be perfect. I was gonna film it last week. I was breaking out because of my period. Come on, girl, really. I was like, I wanted to do like a nice backdrop, like have a cute outfit on, look cute. I had a rough day at work. I just took a shower. My hair is wet, and I was like, you know what? I want this channel to just really be me. And one thing that I always want to preach to everybody is that there's never gonna be a perfect time. You just gotta start. So I'm gonna practice what I preach. So I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but we're gonna be chatting. I've been posting on social media for years, consistently and enough to grow a following. Obviously not, but content creation is something I have always really enjoyed. But I feel the biggest thing that I've let my fan is going off. Sorry, I have notes. I have notes. Okay, so we stay on track. I feel the biggest thing for me with I'm gonna try to look at the camera as much as I can. Okay, I'm being on myself about that. The biggest thing that I've lacked all of my years of recording social media is I just have never been me. I have thought I was being me, but in reality, not really. I'm trying to be aesthetic and make everything look nice and be what you guys want to see. And we already have enough of that. So, this is me. Hey, hello, hi. My name is Taylor. For those of you who don't know, I am 23 years old. I live in LA, and I actually just moved to LA almost a year ago after getting fired from my job. Lore dump. It's almost been in 4 days. It'll be a year from me getting fired and moving to a different city. I am a NPC bikini bodybuilder, which there's some tea on that as well because I was gonna do a division swap, and I haven't said this out loud yet because I publicly announced I was gonna do a division swap. Now I'm publicly announcing. Stay tuned. um, so I wish I had a summer Fridays to those girls they clip the mic on their summer Fridays. I don't have summer Fridays. Anyways, who am I? I'm a quirky 23, 24. Oh my god, I'm 24. Holy shit, I forgot I had a birthday. My birthday was last month, you guys. Oh, hey, I'm a Cancer. What's your sign? I'm a Cancer. Wasn't that a song? Um, I'm 24. Hello, mid 20s. Um, I'm a bodybuilder. I've been working out for about going on 6 years. I have been competing. I'm not gonna say competing. We'll get into that. I've been bodybuilding for probably the past 3 to 4 years. There's been off and ons. This is my first full 2 years of being absolutely consistent. My last show was in November. It's almost been a year, which is insane. I can't wait to compete again. But yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. You guys will get to know me as time goes on, obviously, but the videos that I've posted previously have just been vlog videos, a lot of them when I was in prep. And I really just wanted this video to be who the hell is that girl? Who the hell is she? And wanting to explain my fitness journey from hating working out to loving working out, lifestyle, how I got into bodybuilding, everything in between, the mental health side of things, reversing in prep bodybuilding and getting into the gym, everything just from my beginning to my now. My hair is going to be drying in this process and it's going to get real frizzy and ugly. So you guys are going to see the real me today. Back to why I want to, like I said, I love content creation. I have a story. Everyone has a story. And like I was saying before, the lack of me not being myself is what I think has failed my me being successful in content creation, which is obviously a page I'm playing with my clip, I'm sorry, which is obviously a page I'm trying to turn right now. I've always been very scared to share my story. Now this isn't going to be like my story, my life story. As this channel grows, you guys will get to know more of me, but everyone has a story, and I feel everyone has a purpose for their story. And I feel a big purpose of a lot of people's stories is to share that story, because that's the one thing that no one can duplicate in this world is like your story, like literally what you've gone through. And there has to be purpose in all of my suffering and all of my glory. And I honestly think that that's just to share and connect. I have it a deep soul feeling like I am, just to like kind of touch bases on like my mindset. This has like nothing to do with fitness, but like we're just gonna go with it, okay? We're just gonna, I hope you grab a snack. This is probably gonna be a long video. We're already 7 minutes and you guys still don't know shit. So grab a snack, get comfy. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about looking cute. I'm not gonna worry about my backdrop. Like I want to be seated up in my bed and have a little chat with my friends. Let's just get into this, okay? Let's just get into this. Okay, I have some notes, right? So, how I got into the gym, first of all, I was a dancer. I danced from like the ages of 6 to 18. Anytime anyone would mention the gym to me or working out, hated it. When it was time to do conditioning and dance, hated it. I was the kid that cut the corners, okay? I cut the corners in the mile. I cut the corners. That was absolutely me. I hated working out. I hated everything about it. I've always been a big back. Like I've always loved food. I don't know. Anytime someone mentioned the gym to me or anything like that, I was like, stay 6 feet away from me. And then COVID happened. COVID happened, and I I lifted weights for the first time. This is when it was COVID, but like you could go out of your house. COVID, right? You still had to wear a mask. This is the first time I went into a gym. You still had to wear a mask. There was plexiglass dividers in between everything, but you were allowed to enter the gym and go out of your house. I went with a friend. Couldn't tell you what we did, probably legs. And I was like, I went in with the mindset that I was going to hate it, because I hated the conditioning and stuff that dance required, like burpees and running and if you did sports in high school, like it wasn't weight training, unless you were, I don't know, I don't know. For dance, it was not weight training. So I lifted weights for the first time, and I was like, hold the brakes. This is like, hey, I might do this again. I might do this again. I went back and I've done it again for the last 5 years, and that's the end. Like, so I did fully get into the gym. I fell in love with it right away, to be honest. I really, truly loved it. And I was going through a pretty rough time in my life, probably the hardest time of my life mentally, just with family things. Now typically I'm the type of person where I'm going through something and I'm sad. I like to eat. I like to eat my feelings. I'm a big back at heart, you guys. I had to become a bodybuilder or I was gonna end up on my 600-pound life. Like it was no joke. I love to eat. I love food. I'm not afraid to admit it. I think being a girl who can eat is a bigger flex than skinny trend right now, okay? Gonna say it. Let's stop making skinny a trend. Skinny and unhealthy. Okay, skinny. I'm not saying I'm let me not start off with like shaming things, okay? I'm not a shamer. Skinny and unhealthy. Let's stop making skinny and unhealthy a trend. Anyways, when I'm going through things, I'm depressed, I'm sad. I like to eat my feelings rather than, I know some people can't eat at all. Okay. I was so down bad. This is the only time in my life that I was not eating, that where I was so depressed I could not get myself to eat. I would eat. I was working at Starbucks at the time. I would eat like a croissant. And with me falling in love with the gym at the same time as this, I got extremely skinny. Like you see my pinky, like this skinny, okay? ED trigger warning, by the way. I'm so sorry. ED trigger warning. Then I started dating this guy, and he was like this beautiful, jacked, gorgeous man. And we would go out to eat, and he would be like, girl, we need to teach you how to eat. Like, I would take a bite and be like, I'm full, you know? And sure as shit, he taught me how to eat. I wasn't tracking or anything like that. I was intuitively eating. Finally, I was starting to see progress in the gym because this guy like taught me how to eat, like prioritize proteins, like not be afraid of carbs. Like this for the first time in my life, I was eating whole foods and not shit. Like some pretty good progress, some muscle growth, and I loved how I started to look. I loved how I felt. And then, so this is probably like 2-3 years into me lifting, and I discovered like bodybuilding shows. Like I would watch vlogs on YouTube of people's preps and the show day vlogs, and I fell in love with it. I was like, whoa. Especially always being someone that like danced their whole life and was on stage for 12 years of their life, like, which I loved. So seeing the glitz and the glam and the amazing beautiful parts of bodybuilding, I was like, I want to do that. So of course, I don't even know what tracking a macro is. Okay, I don't know what anything is. All I've done is like lifted for a couple of years, starved myself the first half of it, finally learned how to eat the second half. I don't know anything, and like watched a couple bodybuilding like YouTube videos. I didn't know shit. So I find the first coach. I don't even go on Instagram to look for a coach. Okay, this is how noob I was. I go on Google to look up for a bodybuilding coach. Okay, I'm not gonna say the coach was associated with the company. I don't want to shit on the company because I do think the company does have good coaches. Um, but just personally, the coach that I had, and I'm not saying that she was a bad coach either. I'm saying it was not what I needed. I'm going to say this with my whole heart because I do coach bodybuilding, and this is something that I am trying to grow as well. Like that is something that I want my future and my career to truly be. Of course, I'm just starting out, so but to the girls that I do coach, if you're brand new to bodybuilding, like you've never competed before a day in your life, you don't even know what like that you need heels or like a posing suit or like check-ins are, like you don't know what a macro is, like you shouldn't. When you find a coach, that coach should introduce you to these things, the habits of a bodybuilder before becoming a bodybuilder. I will stand on that hill until the day I die. I posted a reel about this that kind of went off. Did get also some like argumentative comments that, oh well, they should compete to see if they even like it first. Maybe, but their mental health and their physical health and is way more important. Plus, I also almost hated the sport because of how I was introduced to it, right? If you want to become a bodybuilder, and especially like that, you need that you need that coaching, the guidance of let me show you what this world is like before just throwing you into the fire. I will die on that hill. I don't care what anyone says. So when there's so many habits being a bodybuilder, that's like when a bodybuilder is in off season, you don't lose those habits or your prep is going to be insanely hard. And I didn't have those habits like because I didn't know what prep or bodybuilding or anything was. So right away I picked this coach. We start prep like right then and there we start prep. Okay, 6 months, a 6 month prep, which it's just it's not too long for some people, but for someone who's never competed before, someone who's like never done longer than like 10 minutes of cardio, like I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on the coach. It's just as a beginner, a different approach is what I needed. We start prep, okay, and right off the bat it's an hour cardio. Right, day one of prep, it's an hour cardio. Right, this is a 6 month prep. We started beginning of January. My competition was going to be in June. Okay. A 6 month prep. Day one, 45 minutes of steady state cardio, 15 minutes of hit. I'm not trying to shit on protocol. I'm kind of shitting on protocol though. It really is person dependent, so I can't speak for everyone to be honest. But I mean, I wasn't like 300 pounds either. Like, I think I was like 130, 45 minutes of steady state and 15 minutes of hit every day, day one of prep. My food, like 1100 calories, day one of prep. If you're not really familiar with bodybuilding, that's usually you're at an hour of cardio and 1100 calories at the end of prep. You don't start off that way. So I get about 4 months out. I'm like two months into this, right? And she's cutting my food more and more and more. I'm like at like 900 calories. I'm at an hour and 15 minutes of cardio. And I am like, she told me my cardio had to be fasted. It absolutely had to be fasted. I couldn't do it after training. My training was insane. I was there, like, everything had like 6 sets. And it wasn't like, I'm a firm believer, you shouldn't be doing more than, I think, 4 to 6 workouts. Like, if you're doing leg day, okay, 4 to 6 workouts that leg day. Like, I don't think it should exceed that. It was like 8 workouts, and each of them had like 6, 7 sets. I'm sorry, that's not the way to train for hypertrophy, for for anything. Like, I'm so sorry, like, it's not. You can disagree with me all you want. I don't care. I don't care. But of course, at this, I didn't know any better. I thought that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And the fact that, like, I was so burnt out and I was so tired and I was crying on my floor every day. I couldn't function. Two of my meals were protein shakes. I'm at 900 calories. I've never done this before. I've never tracked before. I've never done cardio like this before. I've never trained like this before. I swear to you, I was stage lean at like 4 months out. Like, I could have competed right then and there and probably done pretty well. But again, I didn't know. And the thought of like 4 more months of this and it just getting worse, like, broke me. I remember crying, crying, crying in the gym to one of my friends. I'm like crying. I'm like, you know what? I'm on my way to In and Out, crying to him. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. And I thought that I just wasn't cut out for bodybuilding. I was like, if this is what prep is like. Now, obviously, when you're watching YouTube videos of prep and show day vlogs, it doesn't show you the hard parts, and there's so much more that goes into it than those vlogs. But it's not supposed to be like how it was my first experience. But I didn't know that because I didn't have any other experience to compare it to. I didn't have any friends in the bodybuilding industry either. Like, it was kind of just me on my own. And my coach was trying to not get me to quit, but I was like, I can't do this anymore. And after that, I went to In and Out, and I remember the next day I went into the grocery store. I grabbed like an entire container of Chips Ahoy cookies and the Girl Scout Samoa cookies. I ate the entire box of both of them. I made my mom bring over a bunch of my favorite snacks. I binged so bad, and I didn't know what a reverse was. I didn't even know there was such thing as a reverse. So I didn't think like, I didn't. Of course, I know I'm binging because I'm binge eating, but like, I didn't know that I was like post reverse binge. I didn't. Binging when you're in that fragile of a state where your body fat is so low and you just ate so clean for so long, it's really unhealthy for your body, and it can really affect your hormones. But again, I didn't know any of this, so I just went into full spiral. I need to just eat what I want to eat. I just want to do what I want to do. Of course, I started gaining a lot of weight because your metabolism was so used to the amount of food that you were on. I didn't You didn't. That's why we do a reverse. Is like, as again, this is like, if you're not familiar with bodybuilding prep and stuff like that, when you go into a bodybuilding prep, you do, like, let's say 20 weeks until your show. Each week your food significantly gets lower. Then you have to reverse back out of that so that you can bring food slowly. You don't just like go back to maintenance right after your show. You just slowly bring it back up to maintenance and then enter an off season and bring calories up from there so that your metabolism has the chance to, like, use that food and use that food for energy rather than store it as fat. So that is why we do a reverse. So your hormones and everything can rebalance back out. Rather, as if you just start eating back at maintenance calories, your body isn't going to know what to do with that amount of food again right away, and it's going to store it as fat. So I was getting fat. There's no way, there's no beating around that bush. I was getting fat. I got the heaviest that I've ever been. I hated how I looked in the mirror. I hated how I felt mentally. I started hating the gym, which really sucked because I was just like, it ruined the gym for me because I hated how I looked. And you see yourself so lean like that and then see yourself get fat, and it's like, and mentally I just hated the gym. I hated working out, and I thought something was wrong with me. I was just in a really bad mental space, and I swore, I was like, I'm never gonna compete again. I'm never gonna bodybuild again. I'm never gonna step on stage again. I hope I can just find my love for the gym again. And that was that. It definitely took a couple of months, but I did fall back in love with the gym again. I did fall back in love with lifting and going to the gym again. Um, Still kind of just eating whatever. Of course, I prioritized protein and things like that still, after a certain extent of like going through my major crash out after all of that. And slowly and surely, I started like getting back into it and falling back in love with it. Definitely not as much as I did like prior to that experience. And I wasn't eating like I was, I was just eating, you know, not like eating whatever, like getting Taco Bell every single night, like, but just eating whatever in the sense. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Um, like I would go out to eat if I wanted to. I would cook chicken and rice if I wanted to. You know what I mean? And then I started having new friends. I started hanging out with new people, and I got super into. Also, by the way, I grew up in Vegas. That's a big thing about me. I grew up in Vegas my entire from the ages of 6 years old to 23 years old. I grew up in Vegas. So that was my entire childhood, my upbringing. And I mean, right in the center of Vegas. Like the strip was 15 minutes from where I lived almost all my life. I started getting really into partying, really heavily into drinking, into drugs, not like heroin, meth, or anything like that. I don't know if any of my family's members watch this. I wasn't like that, but I was definitely into party drugs. Um, I really started getting into. I turned 21. I'm going to the club after club every single weekend. Club, always drinking, always partying, and I'm having the time of my life. I'm having the time of my life. Like honestly, like 22 is one of my favorite years of my life. Like it was really fun. I feel like that was a year that I just really had fun with life, to be honest. I'm not saying partying is like horrible. It is. I mean, it is. It is, but it's not at the same time. You do have to find that balance of enjoying life, and we can get into that like a whole. But I am a guilty as charged as someone who has an all or nothing mindset. And so partying, I've definitely had to slow down on, because I just can't have one drink. I can't just like, I was getting myself into a lot of trouble. But during that time of my life, I still loved the gym. I still, whatever, but I was partying and enjoying life. I was just living life. I was partying, I was gymming, I was working. Um and yeah, like, as you do when you're in your 20s. So, I find this coach through um the show that I was supposed to do when I was with my first coach. I met this girl. We were supposed to do that same show, and I met her through Instagram, and her and I became pretty close. But she had a new bodybuilding coach, and I remember her posting about it, and I remember asking her like, "Hey, like, what's this coach like?" Told her my experience with my previous coach and how expensive my previous coach was too. Like I was paying an astronomical amount of money to that coach. And that was like, not, I didn't want to break the bank. I just kind of wanted to maybe dip my feet back into it. Maybe. She sent me her information. Little did I know that this woman would have changed my life in the best way possible. I started working with her, and it was going great. Everything was going great. She was exactly what a bodybuilding coach should do when you're new to something like that. Like, obviously, at that point that I started working with her, I was excessively, not excessively overweight, but I was definitely like, I was like 170 and I'm 5'4" for reference. And to keep in mind, I was 130 when I started working with, and I think I got all the way down to like 120, like 118, 17, maybe like 117 with that coach. And then I got to 170 within maybe like 2 years. Like, that's not good. That's not good. So obviously, when I was like, I want to do a show, and I didn't know that there was like a proper introduction or anything like that. So she was like, well, we need to get you to maintenance calories first of all, because you're definitely not eating. I was eating goldfish and coffee for breakfast. Um, and I definitely wasn't eating at maintenance calories, and I definitely was overweight. So she's like, we need to get you, she introduced me to it. She's like, well, we need to get you to maintenance calories. We need to do a cleanup phase, because obviously you're carrying a lot of excess body fat. We need to get you into the habits of cardio, daily steps, getting a gallon of water in, taking your vitamins, like all of these little habits that are now just so natural for me. Going to the gym is not a thought anymore. Drinking a gallon of water is not a thought anymore. Taking my creatine in the morning is not a thought anymore. Getting 10,000 steps is not a thought anymore. It's just something that is so habitual to me. It just happens. Um, but obviously at that time, like, that was so foreign to me. So she did properly introduce me the way that you should have. And at that time, I was like mad. I was like, I want to do a show now. But of course, I didn't know any better. And so that's why you need that coach that's like, you can do whatever you want, but I'm going to heavily guide that you don't. And I worked with her for a couple of years, and I'm yapping, you guys. Yapping, yapping, yapping. I feel like I have been looking at myself a lot. So I start working with her. We start working together. She gets me on maintenance calories, whatever. I have to realize, okay, the drinking and the eating out and the partying every weekend has got to stop if you want to be a bodybuilder. Like, obviously, it's not like you can't have fun being a bodybuilder and enjoy an off season and enjoy your life. But I mean, I'm every single weekend I was drinking and eating out and partying. And I'm sorry, if you want to be a competitive bodybuilder, like, that's just not a realistic lifestyle to live. And I didn't want to give that up. I was having way too much fun. And so I stopped working with her. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I just want to live my life. I feel so restricted. And again, I also have that all or nothing mindset. So it's like, I can't just go out and like have fun and be in the moment. Like, I need to go out and get shit faced drunk. Like, that's where I was at in my mindset in that moment. It was like I couldn't do both. I couldn't try to balance both. I just like had to freak out and was like, I need to be 22. I need to be 21. Like, I need to live my life. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I stopped working with her. A couple months go by. I She sees me posting that I'm getting more back into, I'm like not partying as much. I'm filming my workouts, getting more back into the gym. She's like, please work with me again. Like, I think you have so much potential. So we start working together again. And I was in a pretty low point of my life when we started working together again. Like, not low point, like I was having so much fun partying and stuff, but like that mentally, I was like, I needed to party to be mentally sane. Like, but I was partying, I was doing party drugs, and it started caring what I would do it during the week, during the work week. And so honestly, bodybuilding really saved my life from a path that was like just not going anywhere well, like not going anywhere good. I was getting myself into a lot of trouble partying so much, making bad decisions, nothing good for my health. Um, and I lost a lot of weight from partying and party drugs. So when we started working together again, I was like, I want to do a show. I want to do a show. She's like, okay, like she didn't know at the time. She never knew that like I was like, okay, this weekend I'm starting bodybuilding prep, but last weekend I was like high in a club, you know? Um, but I had lost a lot of body fat because of that. So it was like more realistic for me to do a show then, right? And she knew that I had some of the, I learned the cardio, I learned some of the habits to be a bodybuilder. So we were like, okay, let's take a month to like get me back on track fully, and then let's go into prep. Let's pick a show. That prep saved my life. Genuinely, that prep saved my life. I fell in love. I finally saw what a real bodybuilding prep is supposed to be like. I saw what being a bodybuilder was. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the early mornings, the cardio, the hunger, the hardness of it, proving that I could do something like that to myself. And then stepping on stage was like everything goes silent. Everything went silent. Everything in my life, like in that moment, stepping on stage was the best feeling in the entire world. And I knew I would like being on stage again because of dance. And I love that part of dance, being on stage and competing. This was my first time being on stage alone. In dance, I was always on teams and stuff. And I just can't even explain it. A goosebump, outer body experience. It was amazing. I knew that this was what I was meant to do. I got into coaching. I was like, I had a full 360 with my life. Like, I don't party like that. Of course, like I party and I have fun, like my birthday and things. If I'm not in prep and off season, I'm not saying like I gave up my that life for bodybuilding. I mean, I did. I gave up that lifestyle for bodybuilding, and now I kind of. I mean, I definitely not every weekend. If I'm in an off season, maybe like once every couple of months if there's a festival or something, you know. Like I'm an EDM girly. I'm an EDM girly. I love festivals. I love EDM. I EDC. Love to go to Loftlands, all that. And I do think that you should have fun and enjoy yourself to a certain extent in those things. And that prep really made me do a 360 with my life because I wasn't just partying to like have fun and enjoy. I was partying to numb and just go crazy, to be honest. So that prep, I mean, that's what that I stepped on stage and I knew what I wanted to do with my life. Now, here we are in the present time. I'm I'm 8 months post show, which is crazy to think about. A lot has happened. I feel like I should do a separate video on like my reverse and stuff. Um Switching divisions, all of that. I feel like that can be like a part 2. Um because this video is getting really really long. But I competed. I made one of my dreams come true. Now right now, just to kind of try to tell you like where my future is going. Pro card is obviously in a goal, but I'm willing to take the time. I'm natural, so I am willing to take the time that it takes to do so. I am in an off season, a good one. My reverse definitely went a lot better than it did that first time. It could have been better. I definitely will like to do another video touching base on my reverse, the switching the divisions, and everything like that. But this was kind of just like an intro to like how I got here, how I got into competing, how I got into bodybuilding. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. It's a little bit about Taylor. Um, this was fun. This was nice. I like this. I like chatting with you guys. Okay, I'm gonna really do my best to like be on it with my ish. Oh, don't look at my leg. Be on it with my with like recording with YouTube and stuff because I do truly love it and I do truly want to be me and just this life is hard. Life is hard. I'm mentally in the trenches right now. I'm not even gonna lie. Like work is hard. The economy is hard, and if I can have an outlet where I can express creativity because is this world is not set up for us to succeed. It is set up for us to fall into a trap and take our creativity away. And I could talk about this all the time. What I want this channel to be, I don't want it just to be fitness. Like, of course, it's gonna be heavily fitness. I'm a bodybuilder. Like that is what it's gonna primarily be. But I want to do like little chit chat videos like this. Like I would love to have a podcast. Um, because I love yapping and I love talking about certain topics. I would love to talk about the 9 to 5 matrix. Like I would love to talk about how like we are not set up. We are societally set up to fail. I would love to just talk about body and bodybuilding topics, fitness topics, like anything and everything. I just love to talk and I love to yap and I love to share my opinion. I love to hear other people's opinions. So I would love for this video to just be like lifestyle vlogs, workouts, yap sessions, and just honestly, finally get to a point in content creation where I am just being myself. But I will do a part two. Might be the next video, might not be. I don't know. I'm gonna try to post once a week, you guys. I'm gonna try to make that commitment to myself and just make this channel something. So if you stuck around, if you watch this whole video, thank you. I love you guys. Um, Again, we'll do this again sometime soon. I'll tap on my reverse, how it was reversing out of my actual show, me actually competing. The girls that I've met in this sport, which are amazing. God, the women that you meet in this sport, incredible. The friends that you will meet in bodybuilding, it's amazing. If you've ever thought about doing it, it's a beautiful sport if you're introduced to it properly. You can I'll link my Instagram down below. You can always message me. You can always ask me questions. I want this to be a safe place. I want to be an advocate for girls, a guidance for women. I don't know. I don't know. I just want to yap and share and guide and have a fun magical time over here. I hope that this is just the beginning of something. So, until next time.